Hi, everybody. Anyways, welcome back to my channel. I'm Dana Keller, and welcome to Abundant Healthy Living. My intention here in this channel is to go over lessons learned and lessons I continue to learn to help live an abundant life, right? So, at the last YouTube video, I talked about the mistakes I made with regards to post breakup, but basically, it's emotional management. So when I went through a therapist, and it was a Christian therapist, and we prayed before each session, but we also talked about practical steps that I get to take when I get triggered. The whole point is to be able to recognize when a trigger is occurring, right? So these are things that I learned and I still continue to practice. So when I am triggered, the first thing I need to do is you can feel it in your body. The more you start to recognize, you don't automatically react in an emotional manner, but the first thing is you stop. So you feel that shift in your body as soon as you're triggered. And then during that pause, make sure you check to see how you can manage that emotion, how you can respond. The stopping and the pausing allows you that time to be able to prevent you from losing control and damaging relationships. Because sometimes it's like we instantly react, and that is not a good way as far as relationships. The next thing is take a step back and identify what happened. If you can't do it right away, do it later, but definitely stop and then walk away. The identify step is allowing you to be able to kind of, okay, what was the trigger? Rewind what happened, what just happened. That's why it helps to kind of do it right away. But was it a smell? Was it a song? Was it somebody said? Was it a tonality? What was the source of that trigger? And was it that person? Most likely it wasn't. But something that was said or occurred in that particular circumstance gave you an emotional response. And the next thing is describe. Describing how your body felt when you were triggered allows you to get the awareness that you need to be able to recognize it when it happens again. So you're like, oh man, I'm being triggered. It's not them trying to offend me. It's like something is happening. So, do you feel anxious? Do you feel nauseous? Is your heart racing? Your palms sweaty? Can you identify the emotion that you're feeling? And then this practice also increases mindfulness. The whole point is to be able to keep our mind from doing the whole imagination and ruminating and creating scenarios that are not real, and we start overthinking. This actually brings us back into the now. The next thing is recall. When was the last time you felt the same way and in the past? Usually, like, our triggers are from trauma or something that happened in most of them, like as early as childhood. Because what happens is when trauma, it actually imprints that feeling into our nervous system and into our connective tissue or fascia, which is strange. It sounds weird, but the thing though is our body is amazing. So it doesn't know though the time has like passed. It just knows like, okay, I got triggered and this is my response. So we get to kind of look back and recall what happened, when it happened, and that allows us to do some more deep work. Because if you can go back to where it all started, you get to heal from that. I believe that God allows all those triggers as part of our refinement process. We get to grow, but the only way to grow is for us to be aware. So once we're triggered, that is our way to kind of like, okay, what is going on here? I get to get curious about like what I get to change moving forward because I'm an adult now. This is not the past. This is the present. What can I change? And the last piece of this practice is truth. So what is currently happening in the present? Because usually it's not the person that, triggered you. It's something in that context, the circumstance, the smell, the environment that triggered you, and it all came together. So this brings you the awareness that whatever you're feeling most likely isn't real. So we get to go back and recall and figure out what we need to do. Now, all of this can happen as quickly as just the thoughts in your head. But I encourage you to journal. All right. When you have time and actually get a chance to really reflect on what happened, go back to that moment. And if you can recreate it down to the emotion and everything else, journal it. There's something about a mind body connection. If you notice that when you are writing, taking notes, you remember things a little bit better, right? And it also works in reverse. If you are emotional and you just want to get these thoughts out of your head, try journaling. It allows that release, and it gives you like, it's almost like a detachment. You get to read your thoughts and you're like, that doesn't make sense, and then you can kind of like look at it objectively. Now, triggers will happen. It is just the way it works, like we are not immune from them. But the key is knowing, like, this whole process, knowing what triggers you. You get to come up with a plan of what to do when you get triggered. And I know when I get triggered, I actually communicate saying, hey, I actually understand. I'm getting triggered right now. I need to take a step back. It's not you. It is totally me. Let me take a step back. And then also by communicating it with your partner or with your friend, they get to understand, like, okay, this isn't me. I didn't offend her, but at least, you know what? I'm going to give her space. And then also, this is when vulnerability through communication is a superpower. You get to actually control the outcome of that conversation, that situation, by sharing it instead of keeping it in and I'm fine. And that doesn't work. I mean, I've tried that. It doesn't work. So, but when you communicate, you get to understand and they get to understand you. So it works like two folds. You raise self-awareness, you understand yourself a little bit better, and you get to understand, they get to understand you, right? And then plus it's like, whoa, that's coming up. I need to work on that. So that allows you to kind of like dig a little deeper. Sometimes it's like we may not be able to do a therapy. If we are, look for one that actually aligns with what your beliefs are. Sometimes, like a totally secular therapist is fine, but for me, a faith-based one was helpful because we prayed prior to the session and we prayed for God's wisdom, and then allows that to come into play. And then I continue to build on that prayer. Anyways, so as you're doing the work and you're unraveling all these emotional responses and layers, I encourage you to don't stop. Because that is where I made the other big mistake, which is I stuffed it down. It always comes back up. And usually it's the most inopportune time and creates a really bad just scenario in general. So when it is a safe place, when you are alone, I encourage you to do the work and put it into practice, because the more you practice it, it's just like, playing a sport. It becomes automatic. And then when the triggers happen, you actually move and go through it a lot faster. Anyways, have a great day, and I will chat with you soon. Continue to subscribe and share if this was helpful. I'll continue to keep sharing those little nuggets that I've learned over the 52 years of my life. All right, have a great day. Bye.